Not here for Stretford Paddock, what's happening? Just to let you know that this podcast may contain some bad language and even worse accents. Still worth checking out though, in a bit.
Welcome to the lock-in with me, Rusty, for what is episode number 3 of the podcast series. I have to make my apologies immediately. As you can see, there's only one person on the screen, and that is because Mr. Carl Edgar has other prior engagements, and he's passed on his apologies, and he says he will be back shortly. Anyway, I hope you're all well. I hope you're enjoying your week so far. This goes out on a Wednesday evening, so we're halfway through the week. It's hump day, and I hope you've got plenty of hopes and wishes to get to the weekend and enjoy yourself, but hopefully we can get you through the Wednesday evening. Obviously, I'm not going to do this all by myself. This is the first week, the first episode where we have a guest on. Obviously, we've talk about Premier League football. We've talked about our favourite comedians, but now we need to start rallying the guests up, and we've got some fantastic guests coming up for you over the next few weeks. Comedians, boxers, radio presenters, TV presenters, and the guest I'm about to bring on now is somebody I've worked with many a times over the years on the comedy circuit. He's somebody I class as a friend, both on the circuit and off the circuit. He might think differently when he comes on. He might tell you something completely different, but he's an absolute gem. He's a great stand-up comedian and a fantastic bloke. So I'm just going to bring him on now. It's Mr. Jimmy O, or as he's going by lately, Lord James II, which we will talk about. Hello, Jimmy. How are you, mate?
Hello, Rusty B. I've waited years to meet you. It's great to be on your podcast. Hello.
I mean, honestly, it's a pleasure. You know, if you want me to send you some signed autographs and place mats and mouse mats,
a couple of naked selfies again will do.
Again, I might start getting them pens done. Do you know, where like or them mugs where it just looks like it's a normal mug, but when you put the hot water in it, it slowly does a striptease of me.
I think I like the idea. It's been good. So, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you, though? How's things? Are you well?
I'm never well. I'm mentally ill, so it's variants really of psychosis and just like a normal regret. But I'd like to shout out to Bodie, who this lad I know. He gave me one of these ring lights where all the Instagram girls have, and it's currently shining on us now. And it's illuminating the experience of this. So thank you to both. Sorry, I'm no way affiliated. Why I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Well, was that all were you doing this Illuminati then? Right, okay. It's like secret handshakes and stuff.
Well, you know what I mean, kind of thing. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
But the thing is that you love a good conspiracy though, don't you, Jimmy? So for you to do something like that and then recognise you're doing it, I don't know if to believe you now, because you've been you get so involved in conspiracies that you could be now part of one.
I'm actually in the Illuminati, but unfortunately I'm in the warehouse on a 210 shift, so I don't see what goes on in the offices. You know, I'm on the outer reaches of the Illuminati. That we know about as much as you do about what the major moves are, kind of thing. So podcast, are you enjoying the world of podcasting? We've done some podcasts together.
We have, mate. We've done quite a few, haven't we? Drunk ones, sober ones, crazy ones. It's your kind of thing, isn't it? I'm delving into your world here. Do you know what I mean? I've done I've done the stand up. I've you know what I mean? I've done a few podcasts doing the football, but now I'm delving into just doing normal podcasts. You know, wanting to talk to people from various walks of life. As I said just before, I brought you on, like, you know, TV presenters and comedians like yourself and boxers. Just something a bit different, and that's why I've got you on, mate, because I think you're like one of the biggest characters I've ever met on the comedy circuit by a long way. The bad boy of comedy. Can I say that? Or labelled the bad boy of comedy.
There's a cat crying at the door. I just fucking ruined that. Hopefully we'll sort it out now. It's not my cat, to be fair. But yeah, I never said that. It kind of happened. It was never a 5-year plan to fuck everything up and burn bridges and cause riots in pubs as you've been witness to. It was never a plan. It was just the way things kind of transpired, and you know, it's part of my own mental illness and my self-destructive nature. And what can we say? If nothing else, it's been jolly eventful.
Mate, it hasn't. It leaves memories behind anyway, definitely, doesn't it? Even if some of them leave a bad taste in your mouth, some of them have been absolutely fantastic.
I'm sorry about that night I drove off and left you in Norwich. I apologize. I'm sorry about that. You know,
for the viewers and for those listening, yeah, me and Jimmy have travelled across the country. We've done some amazing gigs. We've done some absolutely batshit crazy ones. We once did a gig. I've got to talk about it now because what a night it was, just in general, mate. We've done this gig in Horwich at the Rabbit Saloon bar. Was it called?
Was indeed, sir.
Yeah, and it just kicked off big style, didn't it? Was it a couple of lads?
Let's break it down. I mean, the Rabbit Saloon, of all the shitholes we were to do gigs in, we thought it was sophisticated. It had all stripy wallpaper, and they had beers from fucking Uganda and fucking, you know, Ukraine. You could get all this fucking fancy lager. Anyway, and we thought, you know, and before the gig, they told me the tickets haven't sold that well. So I said, I'll tell you what, don't pay me, pay the lads. And you know what I mean? And that's what I said. So it gets to my turn, and there's these two knobheads at the bar, and they're just talking. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm doing this for fuck all. So I said to the bouncers, they don't get fucked off or shut up. I'm not doing it. Well, the bouncers went to over, and these lads filled the bouncers in, didn't they?
Yeah.
And the whole bar area fucking erupted into a Wild West fucking punch-up.
It was mad.
Even my girlfriend at the time, Shiana, was fucking, again, getting stuck in. It was you couldn't imagine it. Anyway, they eventually got these lads out. Then the lads got a paving stone and threw it through the glass door.
Yeah.
There was a sheeted carpet of glass. I'm on stage, and there's police walking past, Indian gangsters from next door's takeaway looking for these fucking lads. There's a riot van outside. And my fucking head went. And at the end of the night, I was meant to be giving you a lift home, and I fucked off and left you, and I apologise profusely still to this day for that.
Thing is, you don't have to keep apologising. You apologise once. Once was enough for me. But it was just an absolute crazy night. Because I remember coming in on stage after you, or just before, after you, and I had to carry on just doing the business. And there were police just stood next to me watching CCTV of the footage. It was they had like just across from the stage was like where like the sound room where obviously the DJ could go, or whoever was in control of the sound for that night. And in there was the bar owner and one of the lads just having a scrap in that tiniest little boxing ring that you could find. It was absolutely batshit crazy. But yeah, it wasn't the biggest of fees that night, mate. And I think I spent it getting home in a taxi from Norwich.
Yeah, I apologise. My fucking gigs weren't the best paid, but
we had some of the best. Yeah,
we were like the Expendables or an outlaw troupe of. I can't speak for you, but there was me, Steve Hayes, Harry Bristow, and us three at least couldn't get bookings. You could get bookings, but we couldn't get bookings. So we formed this fucking renegade splinter group that were performing any fucking shithole where they would pay us. And it was amazing. We had some good times, and we had a fight in the Spinners' Arms in Hindley Green when I slapped.
Yeah.
This heckler. It wasn't a stage. As you know, Russell, a lot of venue owners, and I'm just saying this, are pricks. A lot of venue owners don't have a fucking clue what a comedy night is, and they say, "Oh, we'll put a free comedy night on." Usually, they won't tell anybody. So on the night, everybody's turned out for a drink after work, chat and everything, and some pricks set up at corner just talking into a microphone, trying to be funny. Now, a lot of people are like, what the fuck's this? I want to chill out. I want to have a chat with my mate about fucking camshafts or whatever kind of thing. And there's some knobhead going on about fucking, I don't know, jokes, I would say, a bit peas, or just the grandma or anything. So a lot of these times, free comedy doesn't work when it's just thrown in a pub. And this occasion, this knobhead came up to me and grabbed me. I think he grabbed me balls or attempted to. So I slapped. I gave him a slap, and then that was another occasion where it wasn't as colourful as the Rabbit Saloon, but it was another night where I attended in kind of landlords regretting the day they saw me. Kind of.
Jimmy O.
And yeah, well, there was some cool. We had some. What do you remember? I know it was a mad time. And what were your highlight? I'm sorry, I'm asking you the questions. I apologise. I'll shut the phone off.
No, go on, because you're ranting away there. You want to get my perspective on something. What is it?
What was your highlights of that time period and them gigs? Was there anything that stuck in your mind gig wise? Where you were just anything that just stuck in your mind?
Do you know what? There was so many gigs with you traveling to some of the most undesirable shitholes in the world, mate, where I would never want to visit ever again. Doing a gig in a garage. You said, I've got a gig for you in a Jaguar garage. I'm like, fucking right on. That sounds pretty smart. Like, I imagine there'd be like ring girls and stuff like that, like announcing us to come on, and it'll just be all glamorous, and there'd be Jaguars, and it was in a fucking proper garage, like a mechanic's garage, just some oily lads and the girlfriends carrying babies just coming to turn up, stood outside the garage just expecting us to do like 20 minutes each. That proper blew my. I think I did 5 minutes and fucked off.
You fucking earned your money. You had a good screw that night, didn't you? You cheeky cunt. What it was like fucking storage hunters when they lift the metal shutter up and everybody stood round, but with comedians trying to tell jokes, and then a lot of Jaguar enthusiasts going, they didn't mention the Mondeo, how the X-Type looks like it. I thought they'd have a gag about that.
They were furious, weren't we? We didn't do car jokes.
I know, we had no I didn't have this Jaguar goes into a pub or something. I don't know. we didn't have any jokes, but that was one of the mad ones. An interesting side note to that is my wheel bearing was going on the way to badly going, but I went to see a mechanic in the morning, and he says a tester on, and it didn't clank. But we were scutching it in the fast lane in a car with a fucking wheel bearing that was fucking right. So that was an interesting. You know what I mean? But that's how we rolled as a kid.
We did, mate. We did. I tell you what, of all the gigs I've done shitloads of gigs with you. But then obviously I've gone and done Comedy Store, Frog and Bucket, Glee, you name it. Been there and done it. But the ones with you, like, going to like pubs and social clubs and hotels, the amount of times I've been judgmental walking in and been so pleasantly surprised walking out. It was doing gigs for the salt of the earth kind of people who had the time for you. They weren't no snobbery. They were happy to hear whatever you were giving them, and they were thankful and they were appreciative, and they were always like watching you and wanting the show. They were like some of the best customers, if you will, that I've ever like performed in front of. And especially, and this is a gig that obviously we talk about now and again on podcasts that we've been on with, was the one in Lee. What was the pub called?
Morgan's Bar. No, Royal.
No. Tam something.
Tamar.
The Tamar.
That was. I can't speak for you personally, but that was if my stand-up career is completely finished now, that was the pinnacle. That night for me was the pinnacle of my career, where I had it. I was match fit. I was gigging regularly. It was a great fucking audience, and I just wish we could have recorded that show, because that was the one. And you couldn't. You know what? Let me just say, Russell, I'm just sorry. Right. I fucking dreaded that gig in advance. I was thinking they're going to stick us downstairs in the fucking corner. And then I was dreading it, and I think we're getting fuck all for this. And then it took us upstairs, and it's a room with chairs, and think, all right, we're in with a chance here. And it was, and you went on, and you fucking did your thing, and it was magic.
It was
just people wanting a fucking laugh, without wanting to politically vet the material. People just want to forget about shit and the true nature of comedy, have a fucking laugh. And that's what comedy isn't anymore. It's ticking boxes. It's vetting jokes politically. Did he say that? Did he really say that? Or can I laugh at that? I can't be seen laughing at that. and that's what you're up against now. It's
Yeah.
but the Tama in Lee, was it December 2018?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Um,
Mate,
but
that gig, like you just said, we turned up. I remember turning up, and there's this little shitty room downstairs with a bandit in the corner. That's the only place I could see that was a plug socket. And I was like, we're going to fucking do it there. No one's going to listen to this. This is going to be dog shit. Like you said, it took us upstairs. And people out there who don't understand how comedy works, to see chairs lined up everywhere. It's not all comedians go to the comedy store and go to Frog and Bucket. Jobbing comedians do it all over, everywhere. And sometimes we can turn up, and there's been one at Jimmy's with a pallet in the fucking corner. You stand on the pallet and you scream from your microphone across about 50 meters to the nearest people, and you're expected to make it work. Comedy doesn't work like that. Comedy's got to be organized. It's got to have structure. It's got to be presented well. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just expect, because you're funny, you can turn up and do it everywhere. But it's just not the case. But the Tamar was beautiful. And I don't want to taint it or anything, but we went back there, didn't we? And it didn't land as well. A different audience, of course. It was a bunch of fucking bus drivers or something, weren't it? I don't know. And
big mistake. You can only go to the top of the mountain once, really.
Yeah.
And we thought we could recapture that moment, and you can't. You can't. And the room was different. They'd set the room out the other way. The chairs were facing the other way, and there was that knobhead Cockney Jim who said he did. Oh, I'm gonna be a comedian. And all he was, and and he bottled it. And
Cockney Jim just did 5 minutes of Mike Reed jokes. It was...
No, that was at Goulburn. He didn't. If you remember, he didn't even fucking attend. He shit up.
Yeah, shit out, did he?
He shit up. That's at Goulburn, where I threw all the money on the floor and said, I'm not performing here. You can all fuck off. That's
another classic Jimmy Orr losing his head moment. I had to go around collecting that money for you, and
I didn't take a penny. And Cockney Jim, who's already not about money, got 50 fucking quid for 3 Mike Reed jokes.
It's embarrassing.
Basically, I was doing my thing. The gig shouldn't have gone ahead. I did it for this fucking fella, and but there was an handful of people in, and somebody brought a bit of an audience, predominantly wankers, and there was this. I was going to say something else. There was this woman at the back who was filming me, and I said, "Don't film me, love." And she was going on and on. I was like, "I want to piss women do," and slightly sexist, yeah. But I thought, "Fuck this," and I theatrically pulled the money out of my top pocket and I'm done. It was really theatrical. I knew what I was doing. And I just thought, self-destruction kicked in. The little voice said, "Yeah, do it." And,
That's it.
And that was it. I mean, there were some mad eyes and some mad laws. I mean, to be truthful, Russell, it was a different world then than it is now. I mean, it's like all that took place in the old world.
Do you know what as well? Do you know? Just to call you back a little minute ago, you said obviously about it being all PC and can I say this, can I say that? But what you touched on was like audience members going, "Oh, can I laugh at that?" Now that's when comedy is really effective. If audience members don't know what the fuck they can laugh at, that's when society is in trouble. When they're worried about what's going in their ears. You turn up at a comedy now, you should expect everything. And I've seen there's quite a few comedians, and I've talked to a few who are just trying to make their own paths now. You know what I mean? Deviating away from the comedy circuit, setting up their own names, their own brands, and just going it alone. Because they want to be able to have like a license to be able to do the comedy they want to do. They don't want to have restraints put on them. They don't want to be gagged, if you will, for want of a better phrase. Because that's kind of what we've done in the past, isn't it? When we've not felt like we're welcome on the comedy circuit for one reason or another.
Sorry, Russell, go on.
No. Do you reckon we're going to see a lot more comedians do that as well now, because they don't want their hands tied. They want to be, as liberal as they can with their own work.
let me tell you something to expand on that.
Yeah.
An interesting point. Alternative comedy, in its very essence, is against the working class.
Yeah.
Working class comedians are not encouraged in that space, and the working class comedians that do, they mould themselves into the type of the middle class that you comedically, and even how they look. You know, they don't. You know what? Chris McGlade put me onto. There's a Jewish writer called Ivor Dembina who did a big article about how alternative comedy is against the working class, and they don't want us involved. Now, it's ironic that alternative comedy was a breakaway kind of cult movement away from mainstream comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like Animal Farm, where all animals are created equal. Well, they have now become the tyrants, kind of thing. And it really needs more than a politically incorrect. Well, that's the wrong term, because you just think EDL, but just free speech in the sense of comedy's art. All art is subjective. So if I'm painting a picture and you're stood over my shoulder, can't use red. We're not using red. We're not using red anymore. Got some Nash. No yellow.
Good way to put it. Very good way to put it.
So I didn't know purple was like that. I didn't know purple represented that. Got some black and white. No, grey. Grey's okay. And that's basically all the colour and the life and the characters and just society in general. You look around. When you was growing up, there's far more characters around and mad people. You know what I mean? But now everybody's the same, and everybody has the same. Everybody's plugged into a smartphone that's like brainwashing them. But you go to a comedy night, Russell. You've known it and you've seen it. They're all doing each other's acts. It's all interchangeable. And a lot of the younger comedians, and this has been happening for a long time, spend the first 5 minutes box ticking. I'm not a racist. I have gay friends. I have my neighbour is a Pakistani transvestite who identifies as a billiard table, but I'm cool with that. And then they spend the first 5 minutes doing that. And entertainment has always been, I don't know if it's more so now, but it's more obvious. It's been about compliance to whatever is the standard set. They would rather have, in the entertainment sphere, as in the world really, they would rather have someone who was more compliant and less talented than a complete maverick who's a genius. They're more interested in people they can control. So it makes you think, what is it really about? Do they want the best art? Do they want the best comedy? Do they want the best music? Or do they just want stuff they can sell? They can cajole, manipulate, control.
That's exactly what. Exactly, in essence, is so they can have their own design and their own way and their own will, isn't it? You're completely spot on. I've looked at it that way before, but I love the analogy about the painting and it being subjective, because that's what all art is, isn't it? Surely,
you'd think so, but the world we're entering, it's always been bad, but.
And when we say non-PC, we're not talking like you just said there. We're not talking like because it's EDL, it's racist. Non-PC can just be things that people feel you shouldn't touch upon. Maybe like misogynistic jokes, rape jokes, baby jokes. But the skill with that is not to make a victim of a joke. You change it around and put the pun on those that are awful in society and bring that upon us. You know what I mean? It's like Bill Burr does, for example.
It's the intent. Let me give you an example where I did recently.
Yeah.
Okay. I was asked to do a gig in a boxing ring. There's an elite boxing club. Scott Mitchell and Alex Matvienko. They asked me, "Will you do stand up?" And I said, "Well, I've packed in now." But I felt like I'll do it. And it's in a boxing ring. I mean, them boxing ring shows are. It's a boxing ring. It's not a comedy club. It's not a pub.
Yeah, tough.
And there was a table of Pakistani lads. And I just said, all right, lads, who's minding the shop?
Yeah.
And the lads burst out laughing. You know what I mean? Now, can you imagine doing that in Manchester? And it's like,
Blacklisted.
the message boards would be a fire, you know. But you analyze that as a statement, and it's just at worst it's generalisation. You know what I mean? And they were laughing, and afterwards I was having a crack with them. They said, "Yeah, we have got back to shop now," and you know what I mean? And see. A lot of things.
Really, as well. If you think about it, like you said, you just did that in the ring, like what's essentially not a comedy gig. You were just employed to be a comedian, entertaining before the action, and you've gone and said that. And as you just said, if you'd done that on the comedy circuit, you know what I mean, it would have been all hell to pay. You know what I mean, your name would have been mud. But really, what they're doing there is disrespecting the people that like the Pakistani people you've just done that joke with, because they might be expecting stuff like that and go, why are they not doing it? Are they too scared to do that? Are they offended by the fact that people won't do that on the circuit as well? Do you know what I mean? Is that way of looking at it? Are they going to be offended?
It's a lot of the time, it's not the minority groups who are asked. It's the liberal left.
Yeah, shouting, yeah.
Who are getting offended on their behalf. But how far is it going to be? If you make a joke laughing at global warming in the next few years, will somebody from Extinction Rebellion complain? I've just had a brilliant something what happened to me, a true story. I don't know if you know this.
No, go for it.
Do you remember when I was on that BBC documentary, Funny Business? They filmed me on a cruise ship, and the premise of the show, for anybody who didn't know, was, can a blue comedian clean his act up and become a cruise ship entertainer? And the answer, as everyone kind of knows, was a resounding no. I died on my fucking ass in front of a fucking gang of embittered Scottish fucking pensioners in tuxedos and tiaras. Anyway, now that gig, I was squeaky clean. I didn't say anything contentious. I didn't swear. The day after, I got told that the steward received a complaint from a family from Wigan saying my act was offensive to Wiganers.
What?
The woman, I wasn't in the best moods. I was in the cafe, gave me sausage day after. And this woman said, why did you feel the need to take the piss out of Wigan? She'd married a Wiganer and she wasn't from Wigan. And it's like, and no other comedians do that. And I said, Luke, love. I said, I'm not arguing with you. Just leave it. And that, in essence, is what's going on. It's not the fucking Wiganers who are offended. It's the people who got fuck all to do with it are getting offended to kind of further their own political narrative and agenda. You know what I mean? And I am, I'm cancelled as a comedian. Right? I know I've been told on numerous occasions I've been blacklisted. But how it works is, if you asked the hierarchy, if you want to call them that, of that circuit, they would deny I was blacklisted. They would tell you they do not employ me because I'm shit. Because I'm rubbish. Because I use the old odd gag. You know, as you know, I wrote a great portion of my act. Some of it was like old gags, what I enjoyed. You know, but that's how they wouldn't have the balls to say, yeah, we have cancelled him. They would just turn around and say, no, he wasn't any good. He was rubbish. That's how. See, they wouldn't even just say, "Oh yeah, we have cancelled him." They wouldn't even own up to it, and they would just, to add insult to injury, they'd stick a knife in and say, "Yeah, and he's shit." That's the only.
I've heard that narrative not long back. It's the first time I've ever heard it, because I've always heard it you just blacklisted because of that joke that you did about the cost of an asylum seeker, right?
Part of it.
Yeah,
that was kind of that was where I kind of, my name became mud, you know.
Well, so this happened, and there's a young lad I'd never heard of before. He's been going about 2 years. He was joining the conversation. Me and Adam Hughes were talking. I was Jimmy. He went, "Oh, Jimmy, he said, is he the one who's banned for stealing loads of material?" I went, "The fuck are you on about?" I said, "Jimmy doesn't steal material." And I said it in the same way you do. You know what I mean? He used to like an old gag now and again, and he'd put it in here and there. I said, but that's just the same as any MC using like a similar saying to some, like, you know, like a similar put down that somebody other MC uses, because it's, you know, that's the rules. You can go and do that. And I said, I said, you don't know what you're talking about, mate. I said, I sit with you. I've wrote with Jimmy. I said, I see Jimmy turn up at gigs with like files full and full and full. I mean, pages and pages and pages full of gags. Not that they're any good or anything, but you're right, you know, you Jimmy. So that's the main thing.
But you know, there's an interesting story with Adam Hughes. It's nothing libelous. Can I tell you, or would you rather?
Go for it.
A gig you missed out on, the Royal, another fucking colourful evening. I don't know if you know this story as well.
No, probably
McGlade was on. Chris McGlade was on. He's off his fucking head. He's a brilliant comedian.
Mental.
He's off his fucking head, and you know, I think he'd be the first to admit that. Adam Hughes, I got him on. It was my gig, and I was the headline act. Now Chris McGlade come on, terrorising around the pub, going behind the bar, pouring pants, giving them out, throwing crisp, pulling the fucking landlord's shoes off, even though he had gout and he was screaming. And McGlade was McGlade, and he's brilliant. Now that Adam Hughes was on in the middle, and he emulated McGlade, and he was going around the pub screaming and shouting with his fucking Parker on. So the bar had been set to this kind of high energetic, anarchic thing. I come on. Do you know this story?
No.
I come on with my fucking flat cap on and my fucking carrier bag and all that, what I used to. And they were talking to me punchlines. And there was this old cunt on a stool right at the side of me. And Lee Rugby had this away, away, away. And every time I did my punchline, he'd go away, 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 out. So I got his fucking pint off him. I threw it all over him. There was a fat cunt with his girlfriend. I don't know why I picked on him. I ran over to him and clotheslined him. I pushed him on the chair. And there was a deaf and dumb fella at the bar with his dad. And I said to him, I said, I bet you're fucking glad you can't hear this. And his dad started screaming and he was fucking mumbling like fucking Beaker at the Muppet Show and fucking whatnot. The landlady storms over to me. She goes, "You've ruined this night, you. I want my money back." She says, "You're not having it." "I want my money back." "You're not having it." "I want my money back." I goes, "Oh, that's fucking good." I'm throwing money on the fucking floor for her. And I want another 20. I goes, "Fuck it, I ripped it in half. There you fucking go." And then I loaded my stuff in the car. But then I realised I'd forgot some leads, so I had to go back fucking following day. And,
Embarrassing, mate.
I forget why I was telling you that, but Adam Hughes, and he was on the bill. And I said to him, I'd give him a lift from the station. And I said, "Do you want to lift back to Liverpool?" And he said, "Fuck off." He was sat talking to the bar people. And I said, "Do you want to lift back to Liverpool?" And he said to me, "Fuck off." Like that. And I thought,
you pissed?
Yeah, but end of the day, he chose his allegiance and all that. And then the little cunt was ringing me up at 2 in the morning saying, I'm lost in Lee, blah, blah, blah. I can get you on at Hot Water Comedy and all this kind of thing. I said, "Oh, very, very good. Fuck off." And but that's comedy. I mean, I've had very few friends in comedy. I mean, you've been a comrade, Harry Bristow, Steve Hayes when he wasn't trying to shag me bird, or anybody else's really. Frankie Allen, you know, and Chris McGlade as well.
Yeah.
But there's an handful of people, and the rest of them, you know, they're all out to do you down or just. But it's a very dark business, isn't it? It is, mate. This is a very sinister, nasty pit, and you've no friends. You're just used for what you can do. You know, then you've got to deal with audiences and hecklers and things that go on there.
That's the fun bit.
Yeah, it is kind of thing. I mean, I can't be asked, but see, nobody will give me a light, as they say in that world now. I wouldn't even lower myself. See, I'd like to think, Russell, I don't know what you think. I'm quite fucking good at what I do. You know,
fantastic, mate. One of the best comedians I've ever worked with. And I've worked with a lot of people who will listen to this, whose names they'll know. You know what I mean? People that have been on TV. But even without name dropping, Jimmy, literally one of the best comedians I've ever seen. The amount of times I've seen you when you're on fire, when you're really on fire, you're unstoppable, mate. It's amazing to watch. Like, I've listened to your jokes countless amount of times, but sometimes even like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, I'll still sit there pissing myself because you're so infectious and you're so good at what you do. So yeah, it's a shame that you're in the position you are and you kind of have enough, but you won't pick up gigs where you want to. Like, to be fair, I've come back after COVID and I've only got a few gigs booked in for the rest of the year, and I've kind of I'm in that like I have a love-hate relationship with it. I'm in a hate place at the moment, but that might just be because I'm not being active. I'm not being out there, because I did do that gig the week with Adam Hughes, and I did really enjoy. Well, I fairly enjoyed it. You know what I mean? It was nice to be back and we stood in front of people and a microphone in my hand and rubbing my ego and making people laugh. But to be fair, as I talked about that, finding my own pathway, I think I might just do that anyway. Just start setting up my own gigs left, right, and centre, booking who I want when I want, just doing it for my own entertainment and for those who want to come and watch. And not trying to appease a shitload of people who I couldn't give two fucks about on the circuit, to be honest, mate. You know what I mean? Because you said to talk about being non-PC shit, you can't tell jokes that you want to tell. Like you mentioned EDL before. I bet I'd get in trouble if I told this joke, right? One's got an EDL colouring book. It comes full of colours with an eraser, so it finishes all white. And you know what I mean? That's like calling them out and calling them racist, but they probably, you can't do that either. Why not?
It's good gag. Well, you know what? I was watching videos of Greg. Do you remember Greg Cook?
Whoa, that's a bit spooky, mate. I was in the kitchen before making chili con carne. I was just thinking about him. Thinking about a trip I had with him once, like, because he had some massively right wing, like staunch right wing views, didn't he?
He was he was in the. He had his feet under the table. It was in that fucking Ken Loach film. Was it Finding Looking for Eric or whatever it was called? I don't know what it was called.
Yeah.
And then he brought out his political views, and he was done.
Yeah.
And Greg Cook, I think, at the end of his life, was fitting bathrooms with his mate, his family member, labouring. You know what I mean? Greg Cook was. Once they were saying about Greg Cook, he's a new Les Dawson. He's a master of fucking phrase and turn of phrase, until he puts a foot wrong, and then he's a cunt who has to fucking fitting bathrooms. God rest his soul. You know,
now let's say right here, he didn't put a foot round on the circuit. He didn't tell like nasty jokes or jokes which, you know, like disgraced a minority or anything like that. He just give his own political views on Facebook.
You know what? I mean, all these Hollywood stars you see, Russell. I mean, they're told they have to support Joe Biden, and they're told what to do. They're told, I don't know what your stance is on that vaccine thing. Well, I won't go there because I padded on you, and I'm sorry about that. But yeah, they're told to support. They're told to be pro that. They're told to do well if they kind of, you effectively, and to a lesser degree on that circuit, you sell your soul, and you have to work within that framework, and you have to serve your master. And if you put a foot wrong, you're gone, because they're all networked. It's one network where they press a button and all the exits are sealed. And you know what? I was told by a promoter in Sheffield. I had a gypsy joke, didn't I, which was pretty innocuous.
Yeah.
And he came up to me after the show, like this middle class fucking idiot, and he goes, "A few of the promoters have told me I'm not going to book you for you making this gypsy joke. Why don't you say pikey instead?" Now, if you go to a gypsy and call him a pikey, there's a good chance he'll beat your fucking head in. It's a really offensive. I don't know why it is. But this is what you're fucking up against. You're against fucking middle class fucking idiots who don't know nothing about life. Oh, let me go into a point, Russell, while I'm on.
Yeah, go for it.
The point of the bar of political correctness is set at a middle class level, and it always has been. Like, if I go on stage and make what's perceived as a racist joke, I'm a racist. Now, if I looking like this, now if I appear to be well spoken, I have a floppy fringe and middle class, Russell Kane, whatever, whoever, Chris Washington, it will be postmodern irony.
Oh, right, of course.
They decide who's the racist and who's being ironic. Now, I at the Frog and Bucket and many other places, I've heard cancer jokes, I've heard rape jokes, jokes about the sick, old people, poor, all done by professional comedians. which could be deemed distasteful and politically incorrect. I've even heard jokes about Eastern Europeans, Polish and the French. All done by professional comedians.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're going to cast aside all that is deemed politically correct. It's deemed acceptable. But if you were to say something about somebody's sexuality, about the Muslims or asylum seekers, anything like that, you fucking had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so who makes the rules? Back in the day, you had Peter Cook and Dudley Moore doing Derek and Clive.
Yeah, of course.
And some of the shit they did, it was it's who's doing it. An example as well. It's like George Carlin said something about being in the club. He was on a different idea, but if you're in that club, look, for example, Gary Glitter got done for being a pedo. Pete Townsend got done for fucking having a good look on computer. Gary Glitter got fucking finished. Pete Townsend's still gigging and touring today, and everybody brushed that under the carpet because when you're in the club, when you're accepted, when they've said yes, you're compliant enough, you're one of us now, or your face fits, you look right. I mean, for example, he was a rival of mine, Kyle Chunk Lawrence. Now he was smashing it all over the place. I think he won Beat the Frog 7 times, and he was told fat is no longer funny by the Frog and Bucket, and it's basically your face has to fucking fit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And Frankie Allen had the same fate. Frankie Allen, all doors were closed to him and stuff like that, but he's made it on his own terms. I think
Jimmy, you're spot on. You go down the right line. I'm going to cut it off there though, because we've gone dark, we've gone deep, and I think it's quite an eye opener for anybody who's listening now who just thinks that comedy is happy and jolly and showbiz, and that you just make it be funny. That's all you have to do. Are
you fucking it off now?
No, just that. No, I'm just cutting that one off.
Yeah. Well, that was the dark side of comedy, kids. You know what I mean?
Cutting off the dark side of comedy, because we've just had a really good insight, I think, from you there. And I'd love to talk about that a lot more. Maybe if I start up a podcast, we'll have a full session on dark side of comedy. But it's you what? Sorry.
I said, every fucking podcast, you've got them all over the place. You're like
fingers in pies, mate.
Like a single mother in my stream with different kids with different fathers.
No, because we've got about 10-15 minutes left, and I want to ask you some questions that I've got ready to pose to one of the greatest comedians I've ever worked with. All right, so literally, right, who would you say is the best comedian you've ever worked with? It's question time, so who was the best? You can't say me because that just embarrassed me, mate. But it's a tough question.
Can we come back to that one in a bit? I want to think about that.
Come back to that one then. Okay, what made Jimmy O become a comedian? Was it the tutelage of Bobby Murdoch?
Well, it was Russell. I didn't think about it till I met Bobby Murdoch. Anyway,
for our viewers who are listening right now, Bobby Murdoch is a promoter / comedian / arsehole from the circuit who will never be funny as long as he's got it all in his arse. Wow. But he used to try and patronise you, Jimmy. But no, away from that, who was what made you get into comedy in the first place, mate? What was it?
I never had any aspirations to be a comedian ever. To keep it brief, I was going for a record deal. I was in like unsigned bands and was doing all that fucking shit, going to London at the time. This is how old fashioned it is, sending demo tapes. So can you imagine? And some of the kids said, "What's a demo tape?" Why the American kids? Fuck knows. Anyway, basically, I was doing all that shit, trying to get famous for being a rock star and a fucking pop star and a singer and all that. Didn't fucking happen. So I was left in a situation where, well, what the fuck do I do now? I'm a creative type, and yet I'm somewhat of a performer. What am I going to do? And I just thought back to it's still a cliche. I'm sure you're in the same boat. Your first audience was your class at school. You said people always said I was class clown and all that cliched shit. places of work. Well, that's a long time ago, but they said you should be a comedian, and at various points in my early life, you should be a comedian. Now, I just thought about that, and I thought, you know what? I've no intentions of being a comedian, but let's see how funny I am. So I eventually searched on the internet for how you be a comedian, and the answers I got back was, there's no easy way to your first gig. It's just a try. It's a baptism of fire. You jump in the sea and you sink or swim. So Jamie Sutherland piped up. He's another fucking. Anyway, he gave me my first gig. And I never thought it. Everybody thought I was going to die. My girlfriend at the time thought I was going to die. My friends came expressly to see me die. I thought I was going to die. Walked on stage with a piece of A4 with about 5 gags written on it, and it's on YouTube, incidentally. And I took the fucking roof off the place. And it was you know what? It was the best gig ever. The feet. It's like your first high. Your first high. You're forever chasing it after that, and that was the best feeling. It was like I was like floating on waves of laughter, and it was like ethereal. It was mad. It was beautiful. It was an amazing feeling. You know what I mean? And that
it is that when you first realise that you are funny and you can do it, it is honestly the most euphoric moment. I still remember back to like my first 10, 20, 30 gigs where just everything seemed to go right, because you were performing to, I don't want to say a lesser audience, but a non-paying audience who were probably a bit more gratitude for what they were having in front of them, but still delivering them first jokes and even them first ever laughs from something that you've manufactured and created up in your own little head is absolutely amazing, mate. So I'm gonna have to watch that video and check it out as well.
Yeah, I'll send you a link with it being slightly narcissistic, Russell. But yeah, but I've always had, to be truthful with you, I like the idea of being a comedian on many occasions, but if I ask myself how bad do I want it, no, I don't think I want it that bad, and I don't feel sad now that it's over.
No,
I genuinely don't feel sad that it's over. You know what might sound weird. One of the things I think is them bastards can't make a penny off me. You know what I mean? And none of them knobheads are earning a fucking penny off me. I'm not a slave to them. I don't need them. You know what I mean? I don't need to doff my fucking cap. Please, can I have a gig? How's your kids? Are they all right? I was just wondering if I could do an open spot for you, and then I could clean your bathroom up and wank you off. And I don't have to fucking do that. And so my relationship was always ambivalent, and I went through shit. Oh, you got to be a star. You got to be famous. And that happened a few times on reality TV and that. And it didn't happen, but it's been an interesting journey. What's next? I don't know. But
I've got a great question off the back of that then. I think it's perfect timing for this question. Got any advice for anybody out there who wants to be a comedian or new comedians just entering into it?
Keep that shut. Be a good little boy or girl. Make sure all your material is really fluffy, not contentious. I don't know if you're a woman, just make loads of jokes about periods and stuff. That's what a lot of female comedians do, and just talk about how you hate Donald Trump and how you hate homophobes and racists and working class people. You know what I mean? And just comply and perhaps go on with a rainbow suit on.
Comply or die.
Go on in a wheelchair with some lipstick on and. You say you identify as a fucking, I don't know, a Cuban eel. And that's it. You just comply completely. Bow to the beast.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't say bow to the beast. It's a pull down thine trousers and bend over the altar of entertainment. And you will go far, children.
Jimmy, I would love to gig with you again one day, mate. So I hope it's not the end. I hope you do make a comeback in some way, shape, or form. We should, like anybody who's listening now who wants me and Jimmy to do a gig, we will, because I know there'll be a lot of people who listen to this. Some of them might be from Manchester, some of them Northerners. I know there's a few Londoners and whatnot. But if you want me and Jimmy to do a gig, bang it in the comments, let us know, and we'll sort some out with Jimmy. Me and you, one last dance.
I'd do it again. Like I said, somebody rang us about booking Bank Holiday Monday, what's gone, but then they said it'll be in November. So, but you get fucking time wasters all the time when you say, I've got this gig for you. I'll get back to you. It's like, but yeah, I'd do it again. I'm not really not. You know what? And me personally, I'd be happy to work for nothing. And I'm not saying stupid. I think it's more enjoyable when you don't do it for any money, because then you've not got nobody at the end of night going, we fucking booked him. We booked him. There's somebody over. Let's fucking book this fucking fella. They're giving you money and. I'll tell you what just quickly. I know you're on a. I don't know what your worst payoff on a gig was, but I got this fucking thing on a Saturday afternoon. No, it might have been a Friday afternoon in Southport. It was all Southport wankers, all men who thought they'd done well for themselves. And that dopey character I used to didn't bode well with alpha males. I think in sportsmen's dinners and all that, I think you have to be alpha.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm on stage. And I'm just dying on my ass, and they're all looking at me like, "Who the fuck are you? We've done well for ourselves." And there's this cunt on his phone, and I said, "You're disturbing me, mate. I don't disturb you when you're working." And he went, "Actually, you are." You know what I mean? And then the fucking booker, venue owner, walked directly up to the stage, got on the stage. I said, "I'm not finished yet." He went. Paid me up, give me my money, and I just fucking walked. It was like something into a fucking film. And safe to say, I didn't get any more bookings off that. But you know what? It's funny. You look back, at the time, it's catastrophic, all the things we've been through. But you look back, and it's fucking funny, and it strengthens you. It's like all the bad things you go through in life at the time, they're fucking catastrophic. And how the fuck am I going to get through this? I don't know how I'm going to get through these dark times of life, but you kind of do, and when you come out the other side, you're stronger, and as a performer as well. So much shit we've been through as comedians. I mean, and it can carry over into your life, that strength, you knowing what you've been through, and some of the horrific fucking things you're up against, and just putting yourself out there and being thrown to the lions.
Lions, yeah. I did one at a bit like Preston North End Football Club for. I can't remember his name now. Half decent promoter anyway. But that's by the by who it was. And it was me, Carly Smallman, she's done quite well. She's on TV and that now, isn't she? And Danny McLaughlin. And I can't remember who was emceeing it. Anyway, it was just a nightmare because it was a Christmas party. There were like 300, 400 people in. We didn't get on stage till 9:30. It was smashed out the end. Carly Smallman went on. She's a musical comedian. She did like half a song and she just started changing the lyrics to "You're all fucking dickhead, you're not fucking listening," and just like calling them all names. Yeah. And I went on stage and I was only doing a 15-minute spot. About 7 minutes in, no one's listening. One nice table were listening to us. So I kind of tried to focus there, but I was fairly new. I'd only been going about a year. So the distraction of like 300, over 50 people getting pissed up was like kind of making me jittery. And some guy just walked up to me, a bit like you, but not with cash, and handed me a Christmas cracker joke. I went, "You better tell that, mate, it's fucking better than the material you've got." Yeah.
It's kind of ruthless. You know what? One of my favourite comedians, I don't know if you are onto him, is an American comedian called Neil Amberger.
You've told me about him, yeah.
He did this really avant-garde, dark film called Enter. You need to see it, Rusty. Sorry, you need to see it. It's called Entertainment. A film with Neil Amberger, and it's like what we was talking about, and it's just this fucking comedian. It's kind of like Mickey Rourke, the wrestler, and he's going round to these joints and in these pubs and playing in front of 10 people, and to silence, and then you get, and it actually has this bit in it where a bloke goes up to him. I think it's him to Step Brothers, the other fat one, not Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And, he was good tonight, but you know where you went wrong. And you know all that shit what we've had. Like, I thought he was great, and then you come off stage. Good advice Frankie Allen gave me, says, "Do your gig and fuck straight out the venue, because you was good, but you know where you went wrong." And then it just fucking, whatever buzz you have, it
Go
kicks
on.
your all fucking insecurities. Some fucking prick who's never picked a microphone up has the audacity. He probably drives a fucking forklift in a fucking warehouse. Has the audacity to tell you where you're going wrong, how you could improve. He said, "I don't tell you how to fucking stack your fucking boxes on your forklift." You know, but that's kind of what you're up against. And the best advice is do your gig, fuck off straight out the door. But sometimes it's nice for we've done it. You hang around like kings, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're brilliant. Can I have a photo with you and all this kind of thing? But I mean,
it was worth it for moments like that. I absolutely loved. I didn't really get into it for that or expect any of that to happen. But I've had like people ask for autographs, ask for pictures. Can we buy you drinks? I've got pissed for free on many occasions at gigs. But talking about that, I remember when we talked about the Tamar being a great gig, and we went back the second time and we should have tried to climb that mountain again. I remember afterwards, I walked past this couple and they were with another couple who weren't at the first gig, and I said, "We go, oh yeah, sorry about that. He was a lot better first time round." Fucking hell.
It's what you're up against, and that was just an horrible fucking gig. We shouldn't have done it. It's one of them.
It is what it is. Man.
It happens, kind of thing.
Jimmy, tell everybody where they can find you. Because obviously you've got a really good channel where you've done many a podcast that I've been on a few times, and you interview some absolutely amazing and really, really interesting people as well. So just give the followers and the listeners a bit of a lowdown.
Normally, kids, you can find me sat on a fucking blanket outside Wigan Asda, begging for change since the middle class left elite killed my comedy career. That's a lie. I'm making a fucking fortune with cryptocurrency, so fuck them. I don't need you, baby. So I have you know what, Russell? Get yourself on TikTok. I don't know if you're on there. And you don't have to do this fucking jazzy miming shit. Just do little rants and things and little quips. I got bored of it, but I built nearly 5,000 followers in the space of 2 months. It's taken on my YouTube 14 years to do that. Now, it's the Jimmy O Show on TikTok and YouTube, and I think I'm Mr. Jimmy O 72 on Instagram with you and all that kind of thing. But you can always throw a link below, Russell, if you want to. Some of the
we will do, definitely.
I mean, I don't know what I am. I just do stuff online nowadays, kind of thing. I mean, like I said, the beauty about comedy is, Russell, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon, and there could be a time in your life where you have 2 years away from it, and it's still there. Everything's still there, and the political climate at some point might change, where people get so fucked off with this communism, this cultural Marxism, what's just a wash in everything now, and people might get tired of that. Or an underground movement might. What needs to happen really is all the comedians who've been kind of cancelled or just overlooked for one reason or another to just start their own fucking scene like the Alternatives did in 1979. Comedy Store was a strip club, didn't it? The original Comedy Store. And so they started their own thing, and it kind of spiraled. But why not take it back? We just take it back to the initial concept of comedy, making people fucking laugh without having to be poetic and wordy and have a fucking hour show in Edinburgh about your grandma's slipper that you kept because it touched you so much. And well, like I said, a side note, a lot of these Edinburgh shows and even comedians, people have wrote about it. It's all fucking waffle. If you cut all the fat out of them shows, you'd be lucky to find 10 minutes of comedy and just waffle. Take comedy back to the people, where people can, and jokes are looked down upon. Jokes in the middle class thing and the comedy clubs. You tell jokes, you're low down the food chain of comedy. You know what I mean? When I went to London watching, and it's young kids on stage who don't know, and all they're doing is talking shit, and it's
Very
not even
samey.
funny. And it's like there's no characters, but comedy needs a radical shake-up. It needs an underground movement, really. We're not interested in fucking Live at the Apollo and all that other fucking shit. You know what I mean? Because it's not a true representation of comedy. And half of them fuckers, you never see a comedian die Live at the Apollo because they're all using laughter tracks.
Yeah.
If that was a comedy club, you would at least see once a month somebody die royally. But have you ever noticed Live at the Apollo? The whole system's fucked, you know. And comedy needs to start again from small venues, not even pubs, just perhaps like the Prohibition. You know what I mean? Where you have like illegal comedy clubs, like, you know what I mean, and just fucking, you know, in boxing rings or whatever, you know, or just in fucking back streets and in a barn, you know. But that's my thoughts, Russell.
Bootlegging comedy.
You know, keep it
started. Let's go underground,
but with no filter. You know, whatever you fucking say, you say. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's the intent behind it. You know what I mean? You can turn it into a rally or a comedy night. It's the intent behind it. But people should be allowed to fucking say what the fuck they want.
Completely and 100% agree. And on that beautiful little rant, Jimmy, I'm going to close this shop down for the night, mate, and bid you farewell. But hope to see you soon enough. I'll get across on your show if you're still doing it. We hope to see you back in the ring, back on the comedy circuit. Circuit, but holding a microphone and making me laugh, mate. That's what I want to see soon enough, pal.
Well, who knows? If people want me and Russell, you can just book me out. Just give me some fucking biscuits. Pay Russell. I'm not asked. I don't really need the money.
As your tagline goes, mate, offensive, vile comedian will tell jokes for food.
I like it. Well, you can't, Russell. You that's how you need to close it because you can't top that.
Can't top that.